The Japanese landings on the Malayan coast in December of 1941 had struck a blow to the Allied army. They were pushed quickly down the west coast of the peninsula, and the Allies suffered defeat after defeat and were forced into a fighting withdrawal. After being defeated at the battles of Jitta and Gurun, the 11th Indian Division continued to retreat south along the west coast of Malaya. The Japanese 5th Division were in close pursuit and were aiming to strike at Kuala Lumpur. The Allied defenders were faced with the difficult decision of defending the RAF base at Kuala Lumpur to stop it falling into Japanese control, and also allowing the Indian 9th Division on the east coast of Malaya to move south. The position at Kampar offered a good defence. The ridges of Thompson, Kennedy and Cemetery overlooked the main road south and provide important strategic value. The ridges sat on the Gurung Bujang Malacca, a 4,000-foot high limestone hill overlooking the swampy plains that surrounded it. The capture of the town of Kampar would allow the Japanese a foothold into the Kinta Valley to the south, so it was imperative that it was held. To give the 11th Division time to reorganise and prepare their positions at Kampar, they were replaced by the 12th Indian Division, who were trained in jungle fighting and performed a fighting retreat against the Japanese vanguard. In the previous week's fighting, the 11th Division had been badly mauled, and as a consequence the 15th and 6th Brigades were merged into one another. The new brigade consisted of the 1st Leicestershires and the 2nd East Surreys, who had been formed into the British battalion. Added to this was the composite Jat Punjab regiment, formed of the 2 Indian battalions. Even with the 1st 14th Punjab, 5th 14th Punjab and 2nd 16th Punjab battalions, the entire 15th 6th Brigade only numbered about 1,600 men. The 28th Gurkha Brigade had also suffered badly at the hands of the Japanese, and the 3 battalions had taken heavy casualties in the previous fighting. Commanding the 11th Division was Major General Archibald Paris. He had taken over command after Major General Murray Lyon was sacked by Lieutenant General Percival on the 23rd of December for his failure to hold the Japanese advance. Paris's task was to defend a line from the coast to Kampar town. Artillery spotters were placed on the hillside overlooking the Japanese advance. The 12th Brigade was placed on the west to cover the coast and the line of retreat. On the 30th of December, the Japanese began their probing attacks on the Kampar position. The Japanese 5th Division was commanded by Lieutenant General Takura Mutsai, and the vanguard of the attack was spearheaded by the 9th Brigade and the 11th and the 41st Regiments. The 41st Regiment was still relatively fresh and intact and numbered about 4,000 men. The Japanese intended on capturing the Kampar position as a New Year present for Emperor Hirohito. They began their main attack on the 31st of December by probing the Allied right flank and the 28th Gurkha positions. Throughout the 31st, the well-concealed Gurkhas fought off the attacks with artillery covering fire from the 155th Field Artillery Regiment. At midnight, the artillery commander, Lieutenant Colonel August Murdoch, ordered a 12-gun salute to be fired at the Japanese to celebrate the New Year. At 7 in the morning, the Japanese 41st Regiment began its attack on the western side of the position. This attack fell on the British battalion, with the position being taken and retaken in hand-to-hand combat. Fresh Japanese soldiers were pushed into the fight, but were still unable to dislodge the well-concealed and dug-in Allied defenders. The defenders were not relieved during the following 2 days, but held on to their positions despite the continual Japanese assault. 30 men of the Leicesters, commanded by Lieutenant Edgar Newland, were surrounded and cut off for most of the battle. They held their position, fighting off all Japanese attacks. Newland was awarded the Military Cross for his part in the action. After the failure of 2 previous attacks, 60 Sikhs and Gujars of the Jat Punjab battalion attacked Japanese soldiers who had captured trenches on the Thompson Ridge. Captain John Graham and Lieutenant Charles Lamb ordered the half company to fix bayonets and charge the position. The Japanese fire was so heavy that Lamb and 32 men were killed. Graham was wounded but continued the charge until a grenade mangled his legs below the knees. However, he continued to shout encouragement to the attackers and throw grenades at the Japanese positions. Despite the loss of 34 Indians, they took the position. Graham died of his wounds a day later and was mentioned in dispatches. The position at Kampar was too strong for the Japanese to take, and it was decided that an outflanking move by landing on the coast and taking Telok Ansan, where the 12th Brigade were positioned, would be the best way forward. This would also cut off the line of retreat for the 11th Brigade. The 11th Regiment made the landings and were supported by the Imperial Guard Division heading overland following the Perak River south. A brisk battle with the Allied 3rd Cavalry and Independent Brigade saw Telok Ansan taken on the 2nd of January. Despite the 12th Brigade holding the line of the north-south road, Paris realised his rear was under threat and abandoned the positions at Kampar to fall back further south to new positions at the Slim River. The battle at Kampar had lasted for 4 days and was the first major defeat of the Japanese Imperial Army during the invasion of Malaya. The 41st Regiment was so badly mauled during the action that they were unable to take part in the later attack on Singapore. Japanese newspapers later reported the Japanese army losses about 500 men, with the Allies losing about 150 men, but there were no other official casualty reports.